trusted name in quality flooring solutions in the Triangle. From luxurious carpets to durable hardwood, LVP, and more.
Experience unmatched expertise and service at Frazee Carpet and Flooring. We're here, your family.
You're watching WRAL News Plus. You can also listen around the clock on your radio at 96.5 in Durham and 99.3 in Raleigh. You're watching WRAL News Plus. You can also listen around the clock on your radio at 96.5 in Durham and 99.3 in Raleigh.
Another frigid night is in the forecast, and the winter chill sticks around. Plus, we're keeping an eye on a system at the end of the week that could bring more promising chances for winter weather. I'll break down what's different about this round.
Boyfriend left for dead. A woman is behind bars here in Harnett County tonight after she allegedly ran from the scene of a DWI crash. What her mother tells us about the incident.
Their journey through North Carolina, the Buddhist monks making their way toward the Triangle today. How soon they could arrive here, and perspective from someone who has followed the journey. Things are looking much better on the roads right now compared to what we saw this morning. You were looking at two of many crashes that we stayed on top of during the morning news because of icy conditions. Thanks for joining us. I'm Michelle McConaughey. The freezing temperatures are not going anywhere, and neither is the chance for a wintry mix. Meteorologist Kat Campbell is in the WRAL Severe Weather Center, and Kat will spend the next week tracking the chances for winter weather again.
We've got a long week ahead of us here in the WRAL Severe Weather Center, but let's start with tonight. We know it's going to be cold tonight. We're talking upper teens to lower 20s, even 16 for the low in Roxborough. And there could be just a little bit of a wind chill on top of that. The wind chill is going to be in the teens when most people wake up in the morning. So make sure that your kids are going to be bundled up as they head back to school tomorrow. Let's talk about the weekend. The setup this upcoming weekend is different. We have the puzzle pieces, high pressure and low pressure, and each puzzle piece is a bit stronger than what we saw this past weekend. High pressure this past weekend was in Texas. Now it's in the Midwest, the Northern Plains, and this is generally speaking a much more favorable position for high pressure to be in, to pump in the cold air and continuously do so. Now, the other part of the equation is that we're going to pick up some Gulf moisture. So this is going to bring in higher moisture levels since the system is coming in from the southwest this time. The exact track, though, is going to determine whether this is snow, ice, or cold rain. We've got a lot to track, plus the potential for the northern lights tonight is increasing. I'll have more on that coming up.
All right, thank you, Kat. And as this system gets closer to our area, there is no better place to track the forecast than the redesigned WRAL weather app. We push out information in real time, so you are never left guessing what's coming. New tonight, we spoke with the woman accused of helping her daughter run away from a deadly crash scene. This is Sharon Marsh. She is out of jail on bond. Troopers told us that she picked up her daughter after a crash and lied to them, saying that she was the driver. Her daughter's boyfriend died during that crash. Her daughter is also accused of being high at the time of that crash as well. WRAL's Sean Gallagher joins us live now. And Sean, there are so many layers here. What did the mother tell you?
Well, she tells me she had no idea the severity of this crash when she picked up her daughter. She tells me her daughter has a history of drug problems. So when she got the call Saturday morning that she needed help, she didn't ask any questions. Crews got to the scene of this crash around 9:30 a.m. Saturday morning.
You can downgrade everybody else. Got one confirmed.
According to Broadcastify radio traffic, Timothy McLean was dead when they arrived, with no one else on scene.
All right, we have one subject in passenger seat. One innocent driver.
According to the arrest warrant, investigators believe Goldie Marsh was high during the crash and ran from the scene, calling her mother Sharon to pick her up. Both now facing charges related to the deadly crash. Sharon Marsh posted a $10,000 bond, so I went to her home. She told me her daughter and Timothy were an on-again, off-again couple. Saturday morning, she got a call from Goldie saying she was involved in a crash and needed to be picked up. But Sharon denies the accusations against her, saying she didn't know anything about McLean being in the car too. She told me, quote, "I'm disappointed in her, very disappointed in her. She should have told me the truth when I picked her up, that he was down there in the car, wrecked, but she didn't." Sharon Marsh faces charges of obstruction, aiding and abetting, and resisting a public officer. And Goldie Marsh was actually out on bond for a cocaine arrest here in Harnett County back in October, and also has a warrant for her arrest out from the state of Kentucky for identity theft and possessing stolen goods. She and her mother will be here in Harnett County for their first appearance tomorrow morning. In Harnett County, Sean Gallagher, WRAL News.
New tonight, we've just learned that Cary Mayor ended his contract with a consulting firm. Mayor Harold Weinbrecht had worked as a consultant for Withers Ravenel. The firm had worked with the town for over the years, and Weinbrecht's role had come under scrutiny in recent weeks due to an investigation into the town's finances. Weinbrecht says that he never violated any policies, but he's ending his work with Withers Ravenel to avoid negative attention being directed at the company. As for the investigation into the town's finances, the SBI is looking into the matter. And new tonight, we've learned the young man accused in the Hedingham neighborhood shooting is expected in court this week. District Attorney Lauren Freeman told us pretrial motions will be heard this week starting on Wednesday. She expects Austin Thompson to be there in person. 5 people, including Thompson's brother, died in that shooting. He was just 15 years old when the shooting happened. His trial is slated to start next month. Fuquay-Varina police are looking for a man accused of stabbing someone at a Walmart. The stabbing happened overnight on East Broad Street. Officers are looking for David Pace. He's accused of stabbing another man at the front entrance. That man is expected to survive. And Raleigh police identified a man who died after getting hit by a car late last night on I-40. Police told us Arun Sandram died from his injuries. Investigators say Sandram was out of his car on the interstate right before the I-440 interchange, and then another driver hit him. Police do not suspect that driver was impaired. Prosecutors have not filed any charges. And looking ahead, an Orange County double murder trial will resume tomorrow in Hillsborough. Isaiah Ross is accused of killing 14-year-old Lyric Woods and 18-year-old Devin Clark in 2022. The court recessed Friday without testimony after one of the attorneys had a family emergency. The judge told the jury they had already expected this case to extend into this week. When court resumes, the prosecution will continue making their case. The defense will still get a chance to call all of their own witnesses to make their case as well. And Raleigh City Council is expected to vote tomorrow on a zoning request that could clear the way for giant towers to come to North Hills. Kane Realty wants to build 4 towers around Six Forks and Lassiter Mill Roads. Those towers could be as high as 37 stories, making them the tallest in the city. City Council was expected to vote on the idea earlier this month, but delayed that vote. Well, the Triangle joined the rest of the country in honoring the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. today. Service events and prayer breakfasts filled the area, with Dr. King's words ringing true decades later. The time is always right to do what is right. And one of those many events around the Triangle was the annual MLK Interfaith Prayer Breakfast. People gathered at the Sheraton Imperial Hotel in RTP to celebrate the memory of Dr. King this morning. And WRAL and Capital Broadcasting are proud presenting sponsors. WRAL's Gerald Owens was the MC of that event. The keynote speaker was Reverend Jermond Taylor from Raleigh. He echoed Dr. King's messages of nonviolence and peace.
We need to expire, that is, breathe out, injustice, hatred, oppression, and violence. In order for that to transpire, we must aspire and work to a better present situation.
This is the 46th annual breakfast as faith leaders come together to highlight the power of love and the pursuit of justice. In Raleigh, hundreds of volunteers partnered to package nearly 200,000 meals. Rise Against Hunger partnered with groups around the city. All those meals will get shipped out to people across the world facing hunger. The annual MLK Peace March returned to downtown Raleigh today. Hundreds of people walked along Edenton Street as a way to pay tribute to Dr. King's legacy of nonviolent demonstrations and calls for peace. We spoke with participants who told us today should be all about unity.
This is one of the days that ought to bring us all together, not only July 4th, but for a great American like Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. It ought to bring us together.
We can come together regardless, as she stated, as race, creed, or color. It doesn't matter, that we're here to bond together. And with everything that's going on in this world, we definitely need the love.
This is the 40th year for the march. More than 50 North Carolina brides are banding together after they say they were scammed out of thousands of dollars by a local photographer. 5 on Your Side's Keely Arthur spoke with 20 of those brides today.
A wedding is stressful and expensive enough without having to deal with what some of these brides are claiming. And now they're turning to 5 on Your Side for help. I was on a Zoom call with about 20 of them who say they paid Holly Christina Photography thousands of dollars, oftentimes upfront and in full. The brides I spoke with fall into 2 camps. Either their wedding is coming up and they haven't heard from the company, or they had their weddings and haven't received any of the photos.
I just can't help but worry that I'm never going to get anything. And at this point, I just want the raw images and the raw video and to figure it out myself so those memories aren't gone.
And Keely was initially tipped off by one bride, and after Keely got involved, the company gave that bride her engagement photos, which were part of the package that she purchased, but the company's owner did not elaborate any further. And coming up tomorrow on WRAL, Keely's fight to get the brides the refunds and the steps any consumer can take if they find themselves in that position. Well, coming up, the monks are on their way. A small group of monks marching has turned into a national spectacle. The preparations underway in Raleigh as the monks move closer to the Triangle.
And we've got the potential to see the northern lights tonight. That chance is actually increasing, and I'll explain why coming up. A group of Buddhist monks are just days away from the Triangle. Their journey from Texas to Washington, D.C. has drawn huge crowds for weeks and has millions of followers online. We spoke with one of the men documenting all of this. WRAL's Caroline Yaffa is live in downtown Raleigh as our area prepares for the monks to arrive. Caroline.
Yeah, the monks are expected to reach the Triangle by the end of the week as part of their walk for peace. And people I've spoken with who've seen this firsthand say it's really a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
It was I've never seen anything like it. I mean, I have shot so many parades. I've shot so many NASCAR races, concerts where emotions are big.
Michael Anderson is a professional freelance photographer who followed the monks along the Cabarrus County line, riding alongside them on a scooter for 24 miles.
The outpouring of support, the love, no politics, no religion. They never talked about Buddhism or anything. It was never about religion whatsoever.
Anderson says if the monks stop in Raleigh is anything like he's seen across the Carolinas, it's something people won't want to miss.
Just enjoy the moment. Life is nothing but a collection of moments, and this is one of them.
Raleigh residents are excited about this opportunity.
I think a fight for freedom is something we should all be involved in. And it's, we'll join them in prayer. We're Catholic, my wife and I, but I think anyone that fights for freedom, that fights for peace, is a worthy cause.
So far, organizers for the Walk of Peace have not discussed exact locations or specific times for when the monks will be coming to the Triangle. But Anderson says that based on what he's seen in other stops, people should get there early because in previous places, crowds have reached tens of thousands of people. Caroline Yaffa, WRAL News, Raleigh.
And if you want to greet the monks as they appear here locally, there are suggestions on the Walk for Peace Facebook page. They suggest placing your palms together and bowing. You should also avoid physical contact, such as a hug or a handshake, unless the monk extends the invitation. Now, if crowds gather, move to the side of the road to leave a clear path for the monks. And WRAL will keep you informed of their route, arrival times, and any public events. Keep up to date here on WRAL News and on all of our digital platforms. Well, we have a gorgeous sunset this evening. I'm joined at the desk by meteorologist Kat Campbell. Cold out there, beautiful sunset, and maybe some more snow on the way.
We have so much to talk about. Let's dive right into it. The sunset, still a little bit of it left tonight, but it was beautiful, very orange outside. A live look over North Hills, 42 degrees right now. Not terribly windy, but enough of a wind that there is still a slight wind chill. 42 feeling like 39, feeling like 33 right now in Roxborough, and a wind chill of 32 in Rocky Mount. Let's start by talking about the Northern Lights. You may get to see them tonight. The planetary index is now at an 8, and that's the number that you need it to be at in order for us to see the aurora low on the horizon, at least in North Carolina. This is the largest solar radiation storm in over 20 years per the Space Weather Prediction Center. So we've got a clear sky tonight. That's good news for us. Look to the north if you want to see it, and the best way to see it is to take out your phone and look through your phone. Use night mode for the best viewing, or where it takes the kind of slow picture there. Check it out. Send us your pictures. We'd love to see them tonight. Now, we may still see this peak even later tonight. However, this has really sped up that big solar flare. No telescopes are needed. And again, that night mode is going to be key. Make sure your kids are bundled up. They're back to school tomorrow, 23 at 8 a.m. Cold to start and cold to finish. Even as the kids head home, it's still just 40 degrees, 36 the high in Roxborough, and 43 in Fayetteville. Here's the thing, the cold air not budging too much this week, and we are already talking about the potential for winter weather. Medium risk, we're in that possible zone Saturday into Sunday. And I know a lot of people are still coming off of this weekend's low impact event, but I've got to tell you, the signal here is far more interesting than what we have seen so far this season. Still, the system is over the Pacific Ocean, and it is about 3,500 miles away. So we're going to get a better feel for how this is going to play out when it moves over land and we start to feed in that data into our models. Here's the thing. We've got the pieces there. We've got to monitor how quickly the high and the low pressure move into their places. As of right now, all precipitation types are possible. This is not a slam dunk snowstorm. There could be ice in parts of our area. The track of low pressure is really going to determine that, but there's more moisture for us to work with in the first place, so we're going to be watching it closely. In the meantime, we do actually have a system before the weekend one. That'll move in here early Thursday. Just a heads up, we could get a little bit more rain Thursday, and then the cold air will really start to push in from the north. And I've got a full video up and article explaining this weekend's winter weather potential on WRAL.com. I just updated that for you this afternoon with the latest information, added a brand new video there as well. So if you want a deeper dive in the weekend forecast, you could check that out. In the meantime, keep your winter coats handy. Just some small rain chances at the end of the week. The weekend will be what everybody's talking about.
All right, thank you, Kat. A civil rights spark. On Martin Luther King Day, we honor one of the faces of the civil rights movement. Next, the Tar Heel Traveler shares how his influence inspired people in Durham and the group of protesters that helped desegregate a theater. Right now, people are viewing a powerful documentary, one about civil rights on this Martin Luther King Day. Tonight, we find our Tar Heel traveler in downtown Durham. Scott Mason has the story of an iconic theater and the protest that helped influence a nationwide movement.
The Carolina Theater in Durham since 1926, and among its credits is the fact the theater has kept the curtain open on its sometimes painful past.
This has been the cultural home of Durham for 100 years now, and when you walk in this door, it just feels special.
And historic.
Here in the theater, you will find an exhibit about the civil rights protests.
And now a documentary about one of those protests.
To these Negroes in the city of Durham, North Carolina is not moving fast enough.
At the time, the Carolina Theater was a symbol of oppression for the black community.
And so, on a spring day in 1963, at the theater, protesters formed a round robin.
Demonstrators would line up at the ticket booth, they would ask for a ticket, they would be denied, and then they would go to the back of the line. Now, when you multiply this over hundreds of people, you have an effect where the theater is no longer making money because no one can get in line to get a ticket.
You're thinking about, am I going to make a change in this city?
But the round-robin protesters did make a change.
The theater manager finally relented and desegregated the theater. But that moment in history, that demonstration of nonviolent resistance, the effects of it reverberated throughout the civil rights movement.
The dynamics of the movement are in the South, particularly in North Carolina.
The film is called Breaking the Booth, and the Carolina Theater is its focal point.
Most of the theaters in the country that were segregated theaters have closely remodeled to hide that history and to forget about that past. We felt that it was important that that story be told. It's too easy to repeat history if you forget it.
And so the theater displays this original ticket booth.
From the black entrance to the theater, which was a separate entrance, a separate staircase.
The black section, known as the Buzzard's Roost.
This definitely struck a chord with the black community. They're taxpayers too, they're Americans too. Why should they not be able to sit wherever they choose inside of a publicly funded area? This film shows how ordinary people chose collective action when something felt unjust.
This is American flag, and this is what we've been to jail for.
It is a remarkable piece of filmmaking that is capturing first-person stories of a remarkable moment in our community's history.
A moment that made a difference.
A moment that made a difference, a moment that changed the history and the course of Durham and, frankly, our nation.
History is the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Right now at the Carolina Theater, at this moment, the documentary is being screened with a panel discussion to follow. The theater plans to show the documentary at later dates as well. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We have more NBA action on WRAL tonight. The Philadelphia 76ers travel to Memphis to take on the Grizzlies. Tip-off is at 8 p.m. Have a great night.